Hi again. Okay, so this is me again, making another video. But this time I actually want to talk to you about what it takes to like practice your instrument. Specifically, I want to talk about piano, and I also want to talk about voice. Okay. All right. So let me get one thing straight first of all. I understand that there are a lot of people who put in a lot of hours to practice their instrument, put in a lot of hours every day or every week to practice their instrument. I've even heard some stories of people saying that they practice up to 8 hours a day to practice an instrument. Okay, yeah, that's very, very great and everything, and I think that is quite possible, but I kind of do want to be a little bit realistic about it and explain some of the nuances with saying things like that. Okay. All right. I went to music school. I went to the University of Florida, and I was a pre med student, and I was also a music major. Did I have time to practice 8 hours a day and still go to my chemistry class and statistics and calculus and physics and biology? No, absolutely not. I had no time for spending 8 hours a day if I had to be in an orgo-chem lab for 3 hours at 3 o'clock or something. No, there was no way that I was going to be able to do that. Okay. But did I have to put in a lot of effort? Did I have to have discipline? Absolutely. All right. Being a music major is kind of like being, I don't know, almost kind of like majoring in something kind of towards the likes of writing. You could technically spend 8 hours, staring at your laptop or computer trying to type your essay or report. But are you really going to be doing that? Most likely not. Okay. If you're going to be at the piano, you're probably going to be there. And also, like, if you go to music school, you're going to find that, like, most likely, well, in my school at least, there will be certain blocks when you can put in the days during the week when you'll reserve a practice room for yourself. So, and most of the time, people don't like reserve more than 2 hours at a time for practicing. So it doesn't really make sense for someone to be there for 8 hours. That's like the whole day. And on top of that, you're not really allowed to eat inside the practice room. So you can't really do that. But when you're practicing, like you have to spend a lot of intense focus to really master the song that you're working on, especially if it's a song that's a little bit more technically challenging or something that is a little bit more advanced in time, meaning like maybe 19th or not 19th, but 20th century or 21st century, maybe more 21st century. That's a lot more difficult. But it's harder to read some of these modern pieces just because the dissonances and the types of chords that you see are really not typical, and the melody that line that you're trying to read is sometimes like completely different from what you would expect it to be. But in the end, like somehow 50 years from now, it's going to be really pretty. Okay, but anyway, um, practicing takes a lot of discipline because you have to put in focused energy to keep up with the work. Okay? If you spend an hour in that practice room to practice a song for piano, which you can do for piano, by the way, you can't do that for voice because you can only practice 30 minutes at a time for voice usually or so. But for piano, you need to have really like focused energy, not just to like look at this song that you're reading, but maybe even to have a pencil and write, while you're practicing and then memorize it. So what are the basic steps for like learning your song? First, you have to read it. Okay, that's one. And then you have to look at the other instructions like dynamics, accent markings, and other articulations. And then after that, you have to memorize it. And then maybe if you're a student, you have to turn it in to your teacher by going to your lesson and then having them critique it, okay, if you did it right. They're going to basically proofread your piece and tell you if you did it right or wrong. And then after that, you can make some more creative modifications. That's really where the creativity comes in with the music because there are a lot of little holes in the songs that composers have written years ago where they might not specify exactly what's going on dynamically, and you can put that in yourself. And you also have the ability to like change your tone quality or your timbre or whatever depending on the instrument. This is all physical, and these are all things you can do physically to change how you press the key and things like that. You would learn that if you study, music more. There's a lot more of physics in music than people think, but um, it takes a lot of creativity to get to that level, So that's like the fifth level. But all of these other four, the first three especially, you can probably achieve that in a matter of a week if you're really focused on it. Especially if you're doing it on like a song that's like maybe 4 or 5 pages. You can manage to do that in a week. I really do believe if you're focused on it. Um, some people can even do it in less than that time if they're like really like stressed to like finish it on time. I've heard some of my classmates before in school, they would like learn like a couple of pieces a week, and then the next week they'd shuffle a new set of songs for their professor to listen to. So it's not unheard of to have a lot of different songs shuffled over so that you can augment or increase your repertoire. So that's really one thing about music that's, um, and there's just such a myriad of works out there. Uh, so many composers. A lot of people underestimate it. They think that these people are dead, or that they're long gone, their history or whatever. But they often underestimate the fact that we didn't have photographs like from the early 1800s or 1700s. We didn't have photographs. They had paintings. These pieces and the way that we feel like when we listen to them is the best way that we can replicate the feelings of those times. It's almost like you're going back in time, but you really have to listen to it and you have to really feel it to really understand and appreciate uh, what happened. It's a record of someone's written, music from that time. And music isn't a language that you write by like writing English or some kind of language. It's tonal. It's just something that you feel that and the quality that comes out from when the music comes out is just it just travels through time when you play it again. That's the right. That's the significance of learning classical music these days. It's not just about learning the music and learning how to play music generally. There's also an aspect to it that's historical, and of course, there's also music theory and all the other things that are going on there. There's just so much uh, in music that I think it's just sometimes underrated. Like people don't sometimes see how much there is when it comes to studying something like this. I mean, that's why there is, after all, a bachelor's degree specifically denoted to just being a bachelor of music. Because having a bachelor degree specifically for music is in and of itself one thing. Okay, it's not a bachelor of fine arts, or it's not a bachelor of arts, or a bachelor of science. It's a music, because it's really just music itself. And I think like even way back when, like during the older times, I'm not sure if it was like the Greeks or something, or like the ancient Rome. I'm not really sure. Or like when the University of Milan was made, I really forgot. Actually, honestly, I need to brush up on my history. But there was this thing like the quadrivium and also the trivium, and one of the things that was like important from that time was just music. There was like a subject there for just music, with other things that were going on like astronomy and geometry and whatnot. But music was one thing that was like itself its own important like core subject that people had to learn in that time before. It was a core subject because it was like its own type of math and its own type of art. It's just its own type of thing, its own type of subject. It was and is completely different from other things. Maybe it's somewhat relatable to language. Maybe it's somewhat relatable to poetry. Maybe it's a little bit relatable to I don't know, some acoustics physics. Maybe, I'm not sure, but really, music in and of itself is its own um, qualitative subject that needs its own recognition. That I can say for sure. Okay, but how did I get there? I need to tell you about practicing. When it comes to practicing, you just need to stay focused on what you are doing by having a pencil handy, having the sheet music handy. Oh, and I cannot stress how important it is to get the sheet music for the song that you want to perform. You can look at the sheet music online and everything, and yeah, sure, you can like maybe print it for free. But I usually find that like performances tend to be a little bit more, I don't know, they just sound more expensive. Like when people like study from the books. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's a psychological thing. Um, I really think so. But you when you practice, I think that yeah, because like when you spend money on like getting a book, you invest more of your time and energy into it because you know that you invested something into it. So of course, whatever's going to come out is going to be a little bit more effortful, so to speak. Um, yeah, I mean, there's really not much else I can really talk about regarding practicing um, without like making this video really long and boring. I think that I would just have to let you know is that you have to stay focused, and sometimes, you know, believing rumors or um, exaggerations that you have to practice for 8 hours a day isn't necessarily the healthiest thing to do. You don't want to you don't want to be stuck in a practice room doing that. Okay, I survived through music school not having to do that. I had my junior recital. You can watch it on my channel and see what it was like. I I didn't make that many mistakes. You know, the point is you just have to put in the right amount of effort and right amount of energy and right amount of time to practice your songs, and you'll be fine. And then when it comes time to have your teacher critique it, have a positive attitude. Like I said in another video, just have a positive attitude to take criticism, any criticism you get constructively, not to discourage you, but to help you to make your uh, music better. And that's my tip for how to practice. Those are my tips, actually, my advice and tips. Those are my tips for how to practice your instrument. Um, for piano, I guess, because I think for other instruments it might be a little bit different, maybe a little bit. But I want to just let you know, as a pianist and as a music major who studied piano, this is my advice. And I just hope you have a great day. And thanks for watching my video. See you all. Bye.